In this session, we explore the fundamentals of MEMS microelectromechanical system, specifically focusing on transducers that operate based on capacitive change. We will dive into the challenges of parasitic signals, the phenomenon of capacitive feed-through, and how to model these mechanical systems using equivalent electrical circuits. We'll also touch upon the quality factor of resonant transducers and readout circuits required to convert mechanical motion into an usable electrical signal. Basic transduction and electrostatic drive. Let's start with a simple mechanical transducer, a thin beam clamped at both the ends. Beneath this beam lies an electrode used to drive the beam into vibration. To begin, we apply a DC polarization voltage Vp to the beam through a resistor. This creates an electric field across the gap between the beam and the bottom electrode, forming a parallel plate capacitor. When we introduce an AC voltage to the bottom electrode, it generates an electrostatic force proportional to the product of the AC and DC voltages. This force drives the beam at the drive frequency, putting the mechanical system into motion. The output signal, motion versus feed-through. As the beam vibrates, the capacitance changes. This change generates what we call the motional current, IM. However, the total current we sense at the output, that is IT, isn't just the result of the motion. It also includes a second component, the feed-through current. Let's call it IF. Feed-through current is a parasitic signal that travels directly from the input electrode to the output through the inherent static capacitance of the device, even if the beam isn't moving. For accurate sensing, we need to distinguish between the signal generated by the mechanical motion we want to measure and this parasitic feed-through. Mathematical modeling. Mathematically, the total current, IT, is the derivative of the charge over time. By breaking this down, we see two distinct terms, one dependent on the change in voltage, the feed-through, and the one dependent on the change in capacitance, the motion. Because the DC polarization voltage is typically much larger than the AC signal, the motional current is dominated by this DC bias and the velocity of the beam's displacement. One-port versus two-port transducers. So far, we've looked at a one-port structure where we actuate and sense across the same capacitive gap, but we can also design two-port devices. In a two-port configuration, we split the bottom electrode into a drive electrode and a sense electrode. The major advantage of the two-port design is the reduction of feed-through. By splitting the electrodes, we effectively reduce the parasitic capacitance between the input and the output. This makes it much easier to detect the motional signal, especially at higher frequencies, where feed-through current tends to dominate and can mask the mechanical signal we are trying to observe. Fabrication and parasitics. Building these structures involve complex microfabrication steps, starting with a silicon substrate, depositing oxide layers, patterning with photolithography, and etching to create the suspended beam and the electrodes. Each layer and material interface introduces its own parasitics, such as substrate resistance and additional parasitic capacitances. Understanding these parasitics is the first step toward creating an accurate electrical equivalent circuit, allowing us to simulate and optimize the performance of these tiny mechanical machines in the electronic world. Thanks for watching.